afternoon and welcome to Rubbin Minds. My name is Isabella Adediji. We kick off the show based on some of the trending issues on social media. One video that has caught the attention of lots of Nigerians is the one that was posted by Justice or Justice Crack Justice. And this was a video where he showed some of the things happening in the military. And what was even more shocking to the amazement of many Nigerians is that after this video went viral, this person was allegedly arrested, which brings up the issues around citizen journalism as well as being able to hold government accountable, being able to show the extent of what's happening, and at the same time, matters of national security. Where is the line supposed to be drawn between holding government accountable, showing what's happening in the military, and also protecting the security, the integrity of the Nigerian state? A lot to discuss, and I'm joined in the studio by Segun Olo, a civil rights advocate. Welcome to Rubbin Minds.
Thank you so much for having me. Hold on.
Thank you for honoring our invitation. Now, did you see the video that was posted by Justice, that's Crack Justice?
Yes, I saw the video posted by Justice Chidebere Mark, popularly known as Justice Crack. And the first reaction I have to it is that, well, it must have been an extreme case for men of the Nigerian military to step out and start using social media to voice their concerns because they have laid down procedures internally for which to channel their complaints. And so I felt, just like every other person, we are in big 2026. The military should no longer be going after civilians the manner with which they did, even though we understand the sensitivity of posting such information as they may dampen morale of men on the front line. So I saw it. It was not encouraging. For people who put their lives on the line to secure the country, people expect more for their welfare. And I think that is where the concern emanated from.
I hear you, but in your earlier answer, you said something about their channels. Do you think social media should be the first channel to be explored? Or do you think this could have been channeled to the right authorities in the military to be handled first before coming online?
It's exactly why I said it's an extreme case. To see soldiers coming on social media to voice, despite that they have laid down channel internally for which they could press their complaint. So perhaps, and I'm not making this excuse up for the erring soldiers or errant soldiers, if that's were the case, I'm not making cases or excuses for them. But I'm saying it may be a case that those channels failed, or maybe they've been complaining over time and no responses. And it's not the first time. You remember there was a time under former President Goodluck Jonathan where we had the stories of soldiers who did the tactical maneuver, those who were court-martialed, those who were taken up for mutiny and the rest of it. So it simply means many people, we've been hearing these things for a very long time. But it only behoves on us to then check the veracity for each of these claims. Which of them is actually true? Which of them are coming from what they call sleeper cells? Sleeper cells means the terrorists also have their own sympathizers. And they push them, even in the military, even among the civilians, and even among the media practitioners. There are instances we have seen where sometimes, even when the military is recording gains or successes against the terrorists do not want to appear as though they are losing. What they do then is to look for their sleeper cells, dormant cells that they have channeled everywhere, to say, no, go to the media. Tell them the success they thought they record. No, it is civilians that they killed, though. They did not kill the terrorists. So the terrorists don't want to appear as though they are losing. So sometimes they push these sleeper cells, and that is where it becomes very sensitive. For those of us who are media practitioners who understand all of these things, discretion is very, very key. So before you start pushing what they are pushing to you, first check the veracity. In fact, most times, you also want to check whether the person sending you this information is truly a soldier.
You know, I want to come back to what you said and about the sensitivity and also the effect it could have on the war against terrorism. Having videos like that, do you believe that it emboldens the terrorists, the kidnappers, the insurgents to continue in their onslaught? Or does it serve more for the interests of the soldiers, that this is something that will get the attention of the government and they would intervene so such videos don't end up coming online?
There are usually three reasons such things come to the media if they were coming from the sleeper cells by the terrorists. One, they want to demoralize soldiers on the front line. Second, they want to withdraw public trust in the Nigerian defense institution. And third, they want to boost the morale of the terrorists even when they are losing. They want to make them feel they are gaining even when they are also losing. Which is where it becomes very important that it has psychological implications, how this information are processed in public place. I understand all of this. That notwithstanding, if such information is percolating or spreading in the media, handling it should not therefore mean that civilians who are not confirmed to have ties with terrorists are now battered, are now abducted in the Gestapo style as we have seen, which is why we are saying that for the public to continue to have trust in their defense institutions, they need cooperation of the citizens and not to show muzzle against citizens, because it reminds us, this is reminiscent of the Decree 4 of 1984, where they say that even truth is no defense. And you remember the Guardian journalists, Tunde Thompson and Ndukai Rabo, they were taken under Decree 4 by the Muhammadu Buhari Legend of 1984. The same thing repeated itself a little bit under the civilian rule of the now late former President Buhari, the same Buhari. But we defeated it because we have to remind them this is a democracy. The freedom of people to express themselves. We only have to educate the public as to handling sensitive information, not therefore trampling on their rights of freedom of expression.
So will you say this is a case of freedom of expression, or this is a case of national security? And the arrest of the person who posted Justice Crack, is that lawful legally?
Which is why I said these things are somehow intertwined. We know the sensitivity of spreading such information in social media. We also know what it means to trample on rights of people to free speech. People have the right to speak. People have the right to express themselves. At the same time, you have to just guide what people say due to the sensitivity or nature of such information they are releasing. That said, the Nigerian military did not give confidence to the public as the first few days when the man went missing. If not for people who said we have tracked him and we can tell that the location is with the military, the military would not have said anything. So the military should give confidence to the public, timely information, communication, and the rest of it, so that people are not worried and are wondering what is going on with the information of the person who is being held by the military. So for now, the statement released yesterday, the military did not tell us who he is with. They just said they have released him to civil authority. Which of them? Is it the DSS? Is it the Nigeria Police Force? Is it civil defense? Is it Boy Scouts? Is it Man O' War? Is it Vigilante? We don't know. So they should tell us who he is with. As of today, none of these civil authorities has come out to tell us Justice Crack is with them. None.
So I guess the question is, where is Justice Crack?
Absolutely.
And is this a message to other civilians that if you post such sensitive information, your whereabouts will be questioned and you just might go missing?
It should not be. Yes, you are right. It is about where is Justice Crack. No civil authority has told us whether they have him in their custody. Whereas the military told us yesterday they have handed him over. Where is he? That's number one. So the question is to the military. Please, where's Justice Crack? Number two, to the second part of your question. Posting sensitive information as this, as patriotic citizens, let us understand that there are psychological implications for soldiers on the front line, so that when we want to channel this information, and this also comes back to the military, please let people know proper channel. If we get this kind of information, how do we log it so that it is properly attended to? And I can tell, I have that suspicion, that it's not as if these soldiers have not exhausted, except the military can come out and tell us that these soldiers have not exhausted that internal measure.
So that's what you are alleging, that probably all methods of reaching
maybe, just maybe they are few, okay. Because for them to have come to social media,
almost as a last resort.
Absolutely.
We're now joined by a public affairs commentator, Zekeri Idris, who is joining us from our Abuja studio. I'm not sure how much of the conversation you followed, Zekeri, but I'd like you to weigh in on this video that has gone viral and Justice Crack, who has now been handed over to the authorities. Where do we draw the line between releasing sensitive information of natural interest, but at the same time using technology as citizens to raise awareness to critical issues?
That's an excellent question. Thank you very much for inviting me. I think we also need to be careful about the kind of language we deploy in analyzing and assessing this issue. I do not know what is so sensitive. I don't know the criticality to national security of a video, a TikTok video, that showed the objective living conditions of our members of our men and women in uniform on the front lines. I think if there is anybody attempting to compromise national security, it is the people who have sent those people to the front line and giving them such low quality, highly unnutritious kind of food to eat. Because what goes into a man determines the man. So on the face of it, we can establish that it is not a lie that soldiers in the front line took a picture of the food that was before them and sent it to Justice Crack to say, this is what is being served to us. And Justice Crack, in his love for God and country, decided to put it out in the best way that he has deemed fit. So those who are saying that by showing the objective living condition of soldiers in the front line is a threat to national security, I think they are in themselves the threat to national security. If someone has said that the food you serve your troops is not nutritious enough for the kind of work they have been sent to do, I think that the reasonable thing to do would be to improve the living condition and the food ration of the troops on the front line. We cannot afford to have military personnel in Abuja living large, wearing the best of uniform. Then those on the front line are left to stress unnecessarily. So those are the ones that ought to be taken care of, because they are the ones who are preventing the enemies of this country from getting to the rest of us. So I have to first of all establish that there is no threat whatsoever, in my own assessment, to national security in the job that Justice Crack has done. Then number two, if your question extends to that, we cannot have a situation where official arms of government, legitimate security agencies, we employ illegitimate means to carry out whatever they think is right. We have not gotten to that point. This is the democratic country. We have not gotten to that point where a citizen can go missing in the heart of Abuja. And it took 4 days of intense search. And it took even us having to identify that he was with the military, with video evidence showing his car in a military facility, before the military all of a sudden realized that they had Justice Crack in their position. And then they went further to say in their statement that he has now been handed over to a civilian authority. I can also tell you authoritatively that we have been asking questions. Which of the civilian authority, as we speak, there is no civilian authority, whether the DSS or the police, that has confirmed the reception of Justice Crack. And in any case, if Justice Crack was to be moved to civilian authorities, is it not proper that his lawyers will be present to supervise that movement? I can only draw one conclusion from the hanky-panky that we are seeing within the military, and that is that they probably have tortured Justice Crack, and Justice Crack might not be in the best state of physical and mental health to be presented to the public or his lawyers. That's why up till this time, nobody has set his eyes, not even his wife, not even his lawyer has set his eyes on Justice Crack. This cannot be allowed to stand. We must draw the line between what is right and what is in the interest of national security. The laws of Nigeria are not meant for the city. The Nigerian citizens are not meant for the law. The law is meant for the Nigerian citizens. So when you subjugate the Nigerian citizen using the instrumentality of the law, you cannot use lawlessness to cure what you think was an infringement on the military law. So far so good. There is nothing that justifies this conversation that Justice Crack must have done anything out of place. Everything he has done is, this is the video, you are showing it. Is this not the objective living condition of the soldiers on the front line? If not, what stops the military from showing us the objective living condition? If the soldiers on the front line reporting to Justice Crack have not done the right thing, which I can agree with them because, of course, they are bound by military law. Justice Crack is a civilian. He is not bound by military law. If he had even been arrested, he should have since been handed over for investigation and prosecution. But none of that has happened. We are seeing an hanky-panky. Nobody can account for Justice Crack. Even up till this time, day 6, since he left home, he left home to attend a meeting that now turned out to be this national fiasco we are facing.
Like you rightly pointed out, if the military does want to challenge the veracity of these claims and these pictures, surely they should put out a statement or put out pictures and videos to show indeed what the living conditions are of our frontmen. But having these kind of pictures and images in the public, in social media, what does that do for the fight against terrorism? In your opinion, does it embolden the perpetrators of these acts to continue in their onslaught, knowing that our frontline men allegedly are not receiving the best of treatment?
That's another great question. I will answer by a question. If Justice Crack had not put out this video, would that have changed the objective living condition of the soldiers in the front line? The fact that this food is now in public, does it mean that this was not the food they were eating before? If this is the food they were eating, does it not make sense that they should immediately be improving on the ration they give to our soldiers on the front line? And if we want to even take it a step further, between exposing this video to the public of the food that our frontline soldiers are having and the people who gave the frontline soldiers this kind of food to eat, who is more compromising of national security? In my own objective assessment, the people who were given the resources, because we know resources are provided for this. We love our military. Let us put it on record, because there is a narrative trying to fly around that this might be an onslaught or a ploy to discredit the military. We love our military. We love our men and women on uniform. They are doing an excellent job, even with the bare minimum of resources. But things as basic as food should be given to our frontline troops. And if they are not given the proper food, it is not the fault of the person reporting the quality of food. It is the fault of the person who had not given them proper food in the first place. And that is the person who ought to be arrested, investigated for not giving our frontline troops the proper food they need. I think the military police by now, the military intelligence by now should be investigating how come the food that gets to our frontline troops is of this kind of quality, instead of arresting an innocent man. You look at the resources, it shows where the priorities of our law enforcement and sometimes our military, in fact, military intelligence. Let me not use the whole military because I know the infantry and the rest of the military are doing their job, but military intelligence shows where their priorities lie. Instead of everyday people are kidnapped in this country. deploying that technology to arrest this situation, deploying that technology to investigate the quality of life of the military in the front line, you are deploying it to arrest someone who has put out a TikTok video. How can a TikTok video probably, amount to a threat? And even when you picked him up, did you see anything that was untoward? From their speech yesterday, they did not tell us that he had any terroristic tendencies. They did not tell us that he had any treasonable tendencies. You only said that it was capable of demoralizing troops. It was capable of causing discontent. You that gave them food that is not good to eat, and the person that reported it, who is capable of creating demoralization in the frontline troops? That is the question I want us to answer.
A lot of questions you've put out there for the military to answer, but I'd like us to look at channels. Perhaps there are people who are watching this and they're active on social media. Should they receive such pictures or video evidence of living conditions of soldiers, do you think they will still want to post given the treatment of Justice Crack? Or is this a way to silence Nigerians about speaking up about matters that affect our frontline men? And also, where do we draw the line of, is this real? Is this fake? Is this AI? The veracity of claims that are being made? And are there other channels to be explored should Nigerians receive such images?
I mean, the confirmation that the video of Justice Crack was the objective living condition of frontline troops is that the soldier that purportedly sent him this picture that he shared on his social media was announced dismissed yesterday by the army. They announced that he was dismissed. A man who complained. I mean, he might have done it through the wrong channel by not going through the military channel. But again, for him to complain to a citizen journalist or to a public activist tells you that the internal mechanism available to him may either have been exhausted or is ineffective for him to have taken it outside the military, because the military is a very regimented organization. Some of us have a military background. We come from a military environment, so we know the regimentation around the military, and we respect it. Like I said earlier, we respect our men and women in uniform. We honor them, we cherish them. It is a thankless job. But I am sure that there are people even within the military who don't share this same sentiment with us. And that is why this kind of food will go to the soldiers on the front line, and instead of fixing the problem, you are fixing the messenger. Instead of taking the message, you are arresting the messenger. What the arrest, illegal, of course, I can't call it an arrest. It's effectively a kidnap. The arrest, or if you like, kidnap or abduction of Justice Crack, and his torture, and his detention for the 6th day now. How has it improved the life of the soldiers on the front line? It is a waste of time and resources. What I had expected is that as soon as the military, so even if they needed to invite Justice Crack, they can invite him to give further information, and which you would have done willingly. Give further information so that to help the military know how to fix the internal problems. But instead, you are vilifying a man because he has reported the truth. When has the truth become a sin in Nigeria? That is my question. When has the truth become a sin?
Well, all eyes are on the military, and I'm sure in the coming days we will get to the bottom of where Justice Crack is. And going forward, we want to believe that the military will come out and share evidence to boost confidence of Nigerians that indeed the men and women in uniform protecting our land and keeping us safe are indeed well catered to. I'll move to you, Segun Olo. In everything, what are your expectations from the government, from the military, from the civil authorities who the military have said are now in custody or have in their custody Justice Crack?
Thank you. Once again, let me repeat that I do not accept the method by which Justice Crack was taken. We are in a democratic regime, and it should not be condoned by anyone. Next, we should also know where it is. Today is Sunday. As of yesterday, when the press release by the military went out, they told us he has been handed over. Till now, we are still expecting. None of these agencies, civil authorities, has told us he is with them, and everybody is still worried. Now, back to your own question. Let us look at first the channels through which complaints by the soldiers are supposed to be laid. I have said it before that I agree to an extent that they must have exhausted those channels. They must have exhausted. For them to come public, they must have exhausted. And this is a teachable moment for the government. Now to your question directly. Take the advantage of a moment like this to say, okay, can we now start looking at what is the true condition of the soldiers on the front line? What is the true living condition?
What is the true living conditions of the soldiers?
If
and
you
I'm
claim
sure
what is in the media is not true, or if you want us to believe it is not true, use this moment, this opportunity to then investigate. We are supposed to be giving them the right meal that is not given them. Use that opportunity.
Indeed, a teachable moment for this government and also for the military to show Nigerians indeed what the true living conditions are of our frontmen protecting this country. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we are out of time. Segun Olo, civil rights advocate, and big thank you to Zakari Idris, public affairs commentator, who joined us from our Abuja studio. Thank you.
Now it's time to show